Last week we looked at the story where Peter said, or came to the realization that Jesus was the Messiah that they had been waiting for. And we also saw how that question that Jesus asked, "Who do you say that I am?" is a question that each one of us has to answer as well. If we see Jesus just as a good man with great moral teaching, we can lead a very good life, but be left out of the kingdom. If we see Jesus as God living among us, we're going to see things very differently. Last week's reading sounded quite triumphant. Jesus was the Messiah. Jesus would build his church and it would conquer evil. The disciples themselves would be given great authority in spiritual matters. But they still held the view that the Messiah was going to overthrow the Roman government and establish the Jewish nation in peace. So the next sentence of Jesus sent shockwaves through them. He began to tell them he had to go to Jerusalem. He would suffer many things under the religious leaders. He would be put to death and rise again on the third day. Now, this was so completely opposite to what they were thinking that Peter stepped up and said, "No way, Lord, we're not going to let that happen to you." And Jesus rebuked him in a fairly harsh manner. He said, "Get behind me, Satan." He said, "You're a stumbling block to me." And here's the Peter who had just had this wonderful revelation of who Jesus was, suddenly not getting what it actually meant. Far from glory and power, being the Messiah would mean humiliation and suffering. So Jesus then began to explain to them what it means if you want to be a follower of mine, he said. He said, "You must deny yourself, take up your cross and follow me." This didn't just apply to the early disciples, it applies to us as well. We must deny self, take up our cross and follow. The first thing, deny self. Now, this doesn't mean that we just give up everything and go around saying, "I'm useless, I'm nothing." It means if we go around seeking human approval, seeking the things of this world, then we gain nothing in God's eyes. In God's eyes, the greatest and most successful man or person in the world is nothing without him. They will be condemned to eternal death. So we need to see that life is doing things in God's way, doing them for God and not for ourselves. The second thing he says, take up your cross. Now, many people say, "Oh, the cross I have to bear is this dreadful, irritating family member that I've got to put up with, or it's this chronic disease that I have. It's my cross to bear." But that's not what it's about. To take up one's cross is to take up a way of life that will lead to hostility, because the world is hostile to the good things of God. It may lead to persecution, and even in some countries, it leads to death. The way of the cross is a way of selfless love. We have to expect to be treated the way they treated Jesus. The third thing he says is, now follow. And follow means be obedient. Do what I ask you to do. That obedience is a way of life, living God's way. Jesus then followed with a statement which sounds a bit sort of strange. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. Sounds strange. But he's laying out the principle. If we just live for the things of this world, we will not share in life with Jesus after this one. If, on the other hand, we are willing to give up many things for the sake of following Jesus, we will have a glorious life with him in eternity. He said, "What good will it be for you if you gain the whole world, but you lose your soul?" The joys and the pleasures of this world are very strong. They have a strong pull on us. They're all around us. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of strength to realize that the things of this world are just temporary. We need to keep our eyes on what lies ahead. Following Jesus will bring us into opposition to the world in many ways. It can be uncomfortable at times, but it's worth it in the long run. Jesus ended the passage with these words, "For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done." In other words, there is a time of judgment. when we will be called to account for what we have done and the way we have lived. Yes, following Jesus takes discipline, but it's not a joy. No, sorry, it's not a chore, it is a joy.